Hello guys and welcome back to the show. So in the last video we saw how to basically set up Django and write your first hello world using Django. In today's video we are going to look at how to use templates rather than using normal HTTP response. If I go back to what we did last time, we were returning HTTP response hello world, but if you build an application, you cannot say HTTP response hello world. You want to write HTML and lots of HTML. So today we're going to look at how to add HTML to your Django project and build complex applications. So what we're going to do is to create a directory called templates, and inside of the templates we will have all our templates that we would like to use, right? Now, some people like to do this differently. When some people work with Django, they like to create templates inside of each app. In the last video, we saw that my site is the Django project, is the whole Django application, the whole Django project that we want is called my site. And inside of my site, we've got different apps inside of the site. So Hello World is an Hello World app. We could have, if we were building like an e-commerce application, we will have like a product app, we will have a cart app, we will have payment app, we will have like different apps for the project. And some people like to create templates inside of the different apps. So over here, I could create something like templates, like so. And then if I have another app, I'll go in there and create another template in there. But that's not what we're going to do today. What we're going to do is to create one single template which we can use throughout the whole application. So let me delete this. Inside of the root of the application, when I say the root of the application, that is where I've got manage.py. So if I come over here, right, if I cd into my site, that is the actual project. That is the whole project that we want to make, right? And these are the things that are inside of the project. So Hello World is an app inside of the project. So inside of this root directory or the root of the application, which is where we have the manage.py, what I'm going to do is to create a directory called templates. So I'm going to say mkdir templates like so. So I've got templates created. Now I need to let Django know about this template. I need to tell Django that you need to go to this directory for my template. And how I tell Django about where to find my template is I need to make some configurations inside of the settings.py file. So I can go into the settings.py inside of the actual project. So if you go into my site, this is my site where I've got settings.py. If I scroll down, I've got something called dirs, right? As you can see, there's a variable called templates. It's a constant, which is the list, which contains a dictionary of some stuff, of key value pairs. So you've got backend, which points to this, and they've got dirs, which is an empty list. So what I need to tell Django is that you go into, I need to point basically, what I need to do is I need to point Django to the templates files, all right, to the templates directory, and I can do that inside of this dirs. Let me show you something really quick, all right? So if I come over here, I've got the base directory, right? The base directory is basically from the absolute path of my machine, of my computer, to this file. All right, that is the base directory. So what I'm going to do is tell Django that, okay, where to find my template. So I'm going to tell Django that you can find my template at os.path, okay, .join. I want to join this base directory. So I want to join that with the name that I give to my templates, which over here is templates. Okay. So if you don't know about the OS module in Python, you can have a look at what the OS module does. It's called the operating system module, and it helps you interact with the with the file system, with the operating system of your machine, and to go into different paths of your machine. So I said os.path.join the base directory, okay, with templates. So I'll say templates like so. So now that I've told Django about where to find my templates directory, I can now go on to create my first HTML file. In programming, we talk about dry, okay? Don't repeat yourself. So if you saw my Flask tutorial, which I will link in the description, we used to create a base template and then we use the base template across different HTML files. We're going to adopt the same principle over here. So I'll create something called base.html like so, okay? And this base.html will just be HTML. And I'll say over here block contents and I'll end block contents. This will be the base that I'll use for all my templates. So I can come back here and I'll create an index.html file. It will extend or inherit from the base.html file. So I'll say extends base.html like so. So if you know about inheritance in programming, that's the same principle. It is inheriting some code from the base.html, and on top of that I can add some stuff to that. So what I'm gonna say now is to say block content and then end. I need to put this here and then end block content. Can now go over here and say h1. I can say hello world like so. Now what I need to do is to make my app, my Hello World app. I need to tell my Hello World app what to render when I go to the slash root. So I'm no longer using the HTTP response like I'm using over here. I would like you to render, okay, render a template. As you can see over here, there is from Django.shortcuts, I've imported render, which is something that Django gives you when you create an app. So you should have it there already. And what I'm going to do now is instead of return HTTP response, what I'm going to say is that return render. Now, if I hover on this, right, you can see that render takes as the first parameter request, then it takes the template's name, then it takes something called context. We're not going to talk about context. What we're looking at is templates for now. Okay, so I'll pass in the first parameter, which is request, and the second parameter that I would like to pass it is the name of the HTML file. So I can now say that index.html like so. Oops, I think I made a mistake here. I'll say index.html like so. So Django will already look into these templates. It will look into this templates directory because we've said it here, okay, that the templates will be inside of this template directory. Where is it? Will be inside of this templates directory. So when I say index.html over here, it will look into this template directory and then look for index.html. So now let's check if everything is working correctly. And that is it. We don't need to do anything else because inside of our URLs, everything is still the same and we just want to render a template. So let's check if everything is working all right. So if I come over here and you can see it still says hello world. Now let's try and change something and see if it re-renders. So I can come to the index.html file. Let me get rid of this templates. Let me add this and let me say hello world. Let's go back and let's see. So we know that everything is working correctly. So that is how you add templates to your Django application. Right here, I use a function-based view, okay? But with Django, you can use class-based views as well. Now, let me show you how to use a class-based view to render a template rather than using a function-based view. So I will comment this one out and then come over here and say class hello world view. So at the start of the application or at the start of the tutorial, if you watch the first video, I said that Django is like Ruby on Rails. It gives you a lot of helper methods that lets you or helps you to get started and build applications really fast. So Django comes out of the box with some class-based views. As you can see over here, we've got Django.views.generic. I have template views. We've got other views like list view, we've got details view, okay? There are a lot of views that have been provided by Django because Django, the people who developed Django realized that people were repeating stuff. They've done the heavy lifting for us, some of the heavy lifting for us, and we just have to just use code that have been written already. So see, codes that have been written already by the people who developed Django. We just have to change few settings to our needs, and then we can have everything that we can do with function-based views. So what I'm going to do now is to use class-based views. And the way that you use class-based views is that you inherit from the class-based views, all right? So I can say that template view, the way that you can use class-based view is that you tell the class-based view which templates. As you can see in the function-based view, we told the function, let me bring this back to life. We told the function which HTML or which HTML file to use. We need to do the same thing for class-based views. We need to tell the class-based view what HTML file to use. Okay, so the way that we use that is to override, or there is a class variable for all class-based views called template name. I need to now set this template name to the HTML file that I would like to show. So the name of the template that I would like to show is index.html, like so. Okay, so I can comment this one out. So that's the template view. So I'm just telling it that, listen, I'm using template view. I'm specifying that use the index.html file. Okay, and I need to tell the urls.py how to basically display their class-based view. So what I need to do now is to say that from dots views. So what I'm saying is that from hello world dot means that this file, or from wherever we are, the views, okay? So I'm in the URLs, okay? I'm saying from dot views, okay? Or from, because hello world is a package, because it's got the init.py in there, I can say from dot hello world, the views is the same thing, okay? Import, and what I like to import is the hello world view. This is what I like to import. So I'll say import, let's go back to the urls.py, hello world view, like so. And I can get rid of this because I don't need it anymore, okay? So now instead of saying hello world over here, what I'm gonna say is hello world. And what I now need to do is to call the dots as view method, which basically displays everything that you see. Okay, I'm calling the hello world of views as views. Okay, so have that in your mind, and let's see what happens now. So if I go to the URL or the root/root, everything still works. Let's change something in the index file. Say hello world Chris. So let's change it, and everything still works. So what you need to take out from this is that there are lots of ways to write views, or yeah, there are lots of ways to write views in Django. You can use the function-based views, which is this method over here, or you can go for the class-based views. When you use the function-based view, you might have to write everything by yourself. If you use class-based views, you can use some of the helper methods that have been provided by Django so that you don't have to write a lot of code. But if you like to use the class-based view, then you need to really understand Django, really understand the documentation, because the class-based view has got a lot going on and you need to know what you're doing in order to manipulate it to the way that you want it to be. But the takeout from this, in summary, is how to use templates instead of HTTP response like we saw earlier on. So in the first tutorial, we used HTTP response. Now we are using HTML files. How we did this was first of all to go into our settings.py file and then tell Django that we want to use templates. And we told Django where to find our templates. And we said that if you use os.path to join the base there, which is the base directory, okay? And then we passed it the name of what to join, of the directory to join, which is templates, which is inside of our root directory. Okay, so inside over here, we've got templates. Then we created a base.html file, which is the base from which all other HTML files extend or inherit some functionalities from. Then we've got our index.html file, which says hello world Chris. Then inside of the views.py file, we created a method. First of all, we used the render, passed in the request, and told Django or told this function or this method which file to use for the HTML file or which file to use in the templates directory, and we said it was index.html. Then we looked at the class-based view, and the class-based view that we looked was the template view. And as we saw, a template view is just like a view to render a template, to render a file on the browser. And then for the class-based views, you tell it where to find or which HTML file to use. And to do that, we set up a template's name, okay? So if you go, which basically is the template response missing, it's got a class variable called template name, which is inherited by the template view. So we are overriding that, as you saw in here. It is initially none, okay? We're overriding that to the index.html file. And then inside of the urls.py, we're saying that hello world view.as method, we call it, and then that is it. We see this. I hope this makes sense, and thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.